OK，现在我们正式开始。今天非常高兴呢，我的学生应我的邀请，跟我们一起把他高中期间的申请大学和他之前从小学到初中，尤其是高中阶段申请大学的时候，从 Highly Gift Program、Public School 一直到小学、初中都是公立学校的，其中一个是非常好的 Spring Branch 的 Highly Gifted Program。这位同学会给我们介绍一下。我在美国的同学以及在国内的同学都会对美国的高智商教育、公立学校的和私立学校的有一个了解。然后呢，同学在初中8年级。从公立学校到私立学校是一个巨大的转折。我记得当时我们共同又学习了一下私立学校的考试、私立学校的 interview， 然后 Jerry 同学去了休斯顿，绝对是排名第1的，也就是最好的 private school 圣詹姆斯。在圣詹姆斯期间就有服务精神，这个服务精神表现在呢，帮我的同学做了一个很好的一个视频，帮 Carson 同学讲解一下从公立学校从初中如何适应圣詹姆斯的非常激烈的这个竞争和人文环境。那么我对 Jerry 同学的这个记忆非常清楚，当时我正在美国这边的私立学校教高智商的教育， Jerry 同学呢很早就进入到了休斯顿 Spring Branch Gift Program， 然后是 Highly Gift Program。 他的学习热情是非常高的。我记得当时记忆里是小学 Jerry 是3年级还是4年级？我们共同学习的4年级，4年级共同学习。我现在正好又招了不少的4年级的这些同学，然后这些同学，比如说这位小朋友啊。现在也上了休斯顿最好的这种私立学校，也是4年级、5年级。当时 Jerry 同学呢跟我感兴趣呢，最好的是学的是什么内容呢？他当时学的是对自然科学特别感兴趣。然后呢，回头在高中的时期，我们一起学习哈佛大学的网课。学习哈佛大学的网课，现在记得非常清楚的是，第一个是 rhetoric 演讲口才，另外一个呢是哈佛大学的公平与正义的课程，正好在疫情期间。OK， 现在我把这个 floor 给 Jerry。Jerry, floor is totally yours, and then my students can ask questions. Go ahead. Jerry, floor is yours.
看能不能是
哦，你可以设 screen， 对。好，你可以设一下 screen， 把你的 presentation 给大家讲一下，好吗？
我没
You are allowed to share screen。
我需要 leave 一下，然后再 join。
OK, go ahead。很高兴。OK, look, you are here, and yeah, he actually look. You can ask him question when he come back. When he finish his presentation, you can do Q&A. He came to my class exactly at the 4th grader. How old are you anyway? Look, John. What's your grade?
I'm like right now 5th grade, but I'm gonna start 6th.
Loud and clear. You did a wonderful job on the international history competition, okay? And you go to Kincaid. Kincaid is number 2 in Houston. Jerry is number 1 in Houston. And he's in the best private school. And in the best private school, he's still number 1. And I have high hope on you, Jerry Zhang. Don't disappoint me, okay? Make sense? You go to Kincaid, you still have to be the number 1. You know why, Jerry? Okay, Jerry, it's your turn. Guide to college application. Okay, then you have How many? I only give you 20 minutes to finish your presentation and then Q&A. Go ahead, Jerry.
I don't know. I know Carson's in high school, right?
Carson is definitely in high school.
Yeah.
Carson, what's your grade anyway? 10th grader right now?
Yeah, I'm currently a sophomore.
Sophomore. Cool.
You have a couple days left until you're a junior, so it's like about time to like focus on kind of like college stuff. For the other two, you guys seem to be in like elementary and middle school, so you guys have more time. But I think this is still pretty useful to know when you're younger. I wish I knew a lot of this stuff when I was younger. Yeah, so I started like learning when I was younger with Halosha. We learned, like he said, a lot about like math and like physics and just like really out there stuff just because I was interested in that. I didn't really have understand all of it, but I think it's good when you're younger to expose yourself to as many different subjects as possible. And then for elementary school, I went to a bunch of different schools, but then eventually I landed in Spring Branch Academic Institute, which is this this school in Spring Branch. It's like a program for kids who can like test in, and then you have access to a small like teacher student ratio. It's a really great program. It's kids
Tell
who
me something about how did you test into the program? What do they test? And what's the difference between this school and some other school you experienced? Go ahead. Because not everybody know the program.
this school is, I think you had to take like an IQ test. And then there was also a lottery, but it's a really great program because of the resources available. It's like in your grade, there were some of the other grades had maybe 10 people in it. And then our grade was pretty big. We had 20 people. And then there were a lot of teachers. So every teacher would have one-to-one connection with the kids. It was really great for learning. It's definitely, I went to some other public schools, Spring Forest, some other elementary schools. They didn't offer like as much learning opportunities as opposed to Spring Branch Academic Institute. But I think you guys are all in like private schools, so it doesn't really matter. Um, it's very important to have like good teachers and to like learn how to write well when you're young. I think writing is probably the most important thing that a young person can learn, aside from maybe like programming or like math or something like that. But I think you'll use writing all of your life, so it's very important to learn, especially for college apps. You'll do a lot of writing, so it's good to start early, as early as possible. So transition from middle school to high school, I applied to St. John's and I got in for ninth grade. And it was very difficult in the beginning because Spring Ridge Academic Institute is very like open and it's very advanced, but it's not rigorous. So we didn't have many tests or like quizzes and stuff. And then St. John's is known to be one of the most academically rigorous schools in Houston, also Texas. So there were a lot of tests and quizzes, and it was hard to keep up in the beginning because I've never been held to that level. But over time, got used to it, and then I learned how to study, learn how to like learn well, so everything worked out.
How many years, how many semester for you to fully adjust from the public school system, your middle school, but highly gifted program, your classmates actually in Howard, right? And he's a highly gifted students, and he actually get into UT Austin on academics, and he keep on staying in the same program, in the public school program, and you guys end up one in the very elite, probably the best program in Texas, one in Princeton like you. So you can later on reflect the different route you guys go through. Okay, what's the difference between the public school program and the best private school program? And how long for you to adjust to fully be accepted by the St. John's environment? Go ahead.
I think Well, I don't know. I didn't go to a public high school, so I don't really know. But from my friends who stayed in the program,
Mhm.
very it's like lower expectations. Like the teachers don't have that high of expectations for the students. And
Wow,
then also the school doesn't have the connections to the universities that
that's right.
St. John's does.
Mhm.
Like at St. John's, if you want to ED to U Chicago, you have like 50% chance if you
Wow,
are a good student. I don't think any other school in like Houston or Texas can offer that kind of connection. Especially
wonderful,
not like a public school and even this program. But
wonderful information.
it took me like probably like 2 years, to be honest, to like fully adjust to the academics of St. John's because I never like enjoyed learning until like junior year when I finally got past most of like the AP stuff. And then it was like smaller classes and we got to work together a lot more. And so I enjoyed learning from there. And also, this probably applies more so to like Carson, who's kind of in the position where I was in, where coming off of like sophomore year, I thought I was doing really well. Like in sorry, echoing. Can we mute that? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I thought I was doing pretty well, and then I met someone who I went to a camp at Yale called Economics for Leaders, and I met a person there who told me I wasn't doing enough. And I thought that was really interesting because I never considered that like other people were just doing like so much more than me. And and that made me realize that like most of the people at St. John's, they work really hard, but they're not super productive because they'll spend a lot of time working on like classes and like
Mhm.
sports and extracurriculars, but they don't get like huge results from that. And so it's not very efficient, it's not very productive. And college is all about how productive you can be during high school. So it's important to work hard, very hard, and also produce a lot of stuff that will impress people. I think that's important. And we'll
Basically,
talk.
you have to stand out from the
Yeah.
crowd, right? How did you now, we're moving on, how you stand out, especially for the last 2 years in St. John's? How do you stand out even from the St. John's group?
Well, most, I mean, most of those kids there like come from very like wealthy families. And so they have a very high floor. It almost doesn't matter what universities they go to because their families are so rich that it doesn't really matter. They can just go anywhere. Um, but we're not like in that kind of stratosphere. So I really wanted to like focus on myself and get myself to a higher position. Um, that's like very personal though. Like, and that's, if someone doesn't necessarily want that, then they don't have to do it. It's just it depends on who you are, I think. We can move on. Some of my stats, my GPA was a 94.78 weighted, which is pretty low. Um, I was only in like the top 30% of my class. So it's like pretty low. I mean, a lot of people did better than me. SAT 1570. Here are some of the courses I took. Um, I don't think it's important to take very difficult classes. I think it's probably more important to have a higher GPA because I think my GPA was honestly like very risky for how low it was. I definitely could have taken easier classes and got a higher, but
Mhm. But now go back to your statistics. Okay, so your SAT is very, very good already. Actually, number that's higher than 1550 is already good enough. Even if you have a perfect score, may not be that good, right? So your GPA is only 30%. You are totally right, very risky. But you use your extracurriculum to overweight this GPA consideration. You made your relatively not so high GPA a plus factor. Okay, you are cutting out the Asian stereotype. I mean, Asian students have 4 SAT, 4 ACT, 15, 13, 15, 12, 5 or 4 or 5 AP, right? Very high grade on AP. I have students who have 15 or even more AP, but didn't get into Ivy League. Why is that? I think your future presentation will explain that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary to do that many like hard classes. Here's like the process or like what you need when you're applying to college. You need a personal statement, which is a long essay. We'll talk about it later. But you need teacher recommendations. You need at least two. You can get more. I know St. John's allows you to do like a lot of them. So Carson, you'll get a lot of recommendations probably. And yeah, they'll help you with that. Yeah, you can get extra recommendations from outside of school. I got one from my research professor who works at Claremont McKenna College because I did a lot of economics research with him. But I know some people get extra recommendations from coaches or internship people who they worked under. And then you'll do supplemental essays, which is every school has them. We'll talk about them later. Testing, ACT, SAT, just, something like that. And the extracurriculars, in my opinion, is the most important part of applying to college. I think everyone has good essay, like recommendations, whatever, but I don't think everyone has great extracurriculars. So if you really want to stand out, then you need to spend a lot of time outside of school working on stuff that's really cool. And then there's also early decision, ED2, REA versus regular decision. Um, I don't know, like, how many of you are like, 'cause some of the younger kids are probably, this doesn't really matter, but you can, if you really want to go to a college, you can apply early, and then the acceptance rate is probably higher. So, and I think a piece of advice is if you really want to go somewhere good, then you should early decision. Like, I got waitlisted by Harvard, but I didn't REA to Harvard because I thought I wouldn't get in. But I got waitlisted, which means if I REA'd, I probably would have gone in because they allow more people to go in early. So I think it's just advice is like if you really want to go somewhere like Harvard, Princeton, or like Yale, or like somewhere like that, just apply early. Like don't care about like what anyone says. And then college essays. So you have to write a personal
Okay, let's
statement.
go back to number eight. Number eight. I think your strongest point. Now you go to my classroom. We go through all your success story. It's your extracurricular that's the most impressive. You have to explain to my future students, my current students and future students, how did you develop your interest in your particular extracurricular activity? How can you stay in that program for so long? And once you have very impressive extracurricular activity, but you have to have a passion behind it, then you can have enough material to write your personal statement and your wonderful essays for these elite universities. Okay, now you should emphasize on your extracurriculum. How do you develop this interest in the first place? Go ahead.
Yeah, so it starts with like knowing kind of what major you want to study. So I wanted to go into like business or economics. So I mainly did stuff that was oriented around business and economics. I have my resume here. Let me okay. So my contacts I have like at the end of my presentation. And if you guys reach out, I'll send my resume to you. But no, I like for research, there's so many different types of extracurriculars. I like wrote them down. I was going to talk about them. But you can do research, internships, public speaking, different programs, passion projects, athletics, music, volunteering, leadership, raising a lot of money, creating different organizations, and just like knowing a lot of important people. All of those are extracurriculars. So for research, I worked with this professor from Claremont McKenna about international economics. I think research is not totally necessary, but everyone who I know gets into a good college has research. So at least like do some kind of research while you're in high school. This is I gave a TED talk once. I was really passionate about the opportunity because my friends were organizing this event and they went to a different school and they invited me out to talk. And so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to practice my public speaking. It was also a great experience to put into my personal statement. I think because not too many high schoolers are giving TED Talks. And so it's a good opportunity. And it's very easy to actually find that kind of opportunity. Most people just don't look for it. Different awards. It's like pretty standard, like national merit, volunteering, AP stuff. And then Boys State. Actually for Carson, you can still do Boys State. This St. John's actually like every school offers this. It's like a mock government program. You go to UT Austin for a week and then you can do elections to run for different government positions. And you'll meet different senators and interesting people. And it's really, really great for essays. I believe it's like the summer between junior to senior year, so like next year. But I strongly recommend participating. And I also wrote a lot of essays about this, so it was interesting. So here's some of my actual extracurriculars.
These part are most impressive, I think, especially the way you interview a lot of economic professors and they all have a higher position, and the way you reach out to them and you don't have any connection and you build your connection and you use the opportunity, the privilege to work with them to benefit other people. That make a very good story. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I'll talk about my first one, which is called Fornance. It's a virtual trading strategy platform. It's a bunch of indicators and algorithms that kind of let the user know when to buy or sell a stock or option. And this was a good like coding project, which helped me practice like my like technical skills. Because for some schools I was applying for like engineering, and so I really wanted to have some engineering on my resume. And then this podcast, The Framing Effect, this is one of my favorite things that I've ever done. So I started this October 2022. And so I interviewed every episode, I would interview a different economist or someone who is like not related to economics at all. So I interviewed Jim Rogers, who's the co-founder of the Quantum Fund. He's worth like hundreds of millions of dollars, and he worked with like George Soros back in the 90s. Mark Beckman, a CEO of this big marketing firm. They work with the NBA and like Taylor Swift and different people. Vernon Smith, who won the Nobel Prize in economics in 2002. And just like different people like that they sound very impressive and they're all very cool people. And this is really good to write on essays because if you mention that like you interviewed, a Nobel Prize winner to some university, they're gonna think you know what you're doing. And that's what you want them to think.
Jerry, this last time you were in my classroom and you gave me a presentation, and on this part, you are the founder. You found an organization out of blue. There's no organization like this. It's very unique. And one of my parents, my students' parents are asking this question, where did they get this idea? Probably some marvelous people probably give you this idea, but I think you hunt for it. You develop this idea. And how did you get all these wonderful, like Jim Rogers? I know Jim Rogers, not personally. How can you build a working relationship with this Nobel Prize economics? You give me a very good presentation. It's so impressive. It's so unbelievable. Now you help my students like Carson. Go ahead.
So my My dad always told me a lot of people pay um like Warren Buffett like a lot of money to like have lunch with Warren Buffett
Yes,
because his ideas are so important. So I wanted to like talk to important people, right? To like learn from them. And I figured why not just record the conversations and then release them to everyone. And that's where the idea for the podcast came from. And so but I had no connections to begin with. I didn't know any of these people, but you can like find people's emails very easily. And if you just write a really good cold email, sometimes they respond. And m most of the time, those people are very happy to help like a high schooler who is trying to learn more and also share their experience. Because people love to like talk about themselves. And so if you just record them talking about themselves, you have
wonderful,
a podcast.
wonderful. I listened to your podcasting, and a lot of people can do that in their 40s, 50s. I did my TV program when I was in my 45 years old or 50. I forgot. I was young at that time, but not as young like you. You were a teenager. And I was listening to you. You were talking about with these professors, these CEOs. Probably if I try to reach them, they would brush me off. Okay, who are you? I don't even know you. Why you want to waste my time? But you are a high schooler and you are not afraid of being rejected. I think your dad gave you a wonderful education, but the even more wonderful thing is you listen to your dad, which is a very rare phenomenon these days. Okay, teenagers don't usually listen to their parents, but you did, and you get the wisdom, and you actually did it. And I was listening to your broadcasting, and the maturity that people can hear from your voice is wonderful. So that's how I think one of the important reasons you get into Princeton. Now keep on going. Congratulations.
So yeah, everyone who I know has a podcast has gotten into either Yale or Princeton. So I think this is a very good strategy for getting into a good college. Um, and at the end, I'll talk about like my contacts and I'm offering like college counseling packages where I can help like students who are, like even younger, like middle school, like start these kind of projects. I think it's a great learning opportunity.
That
But
would be wonderful. That would be wonderful.
I have a lot of other stuff on my resume, a bunch of internships and different foundations.
Okay, the second one, go back to the other one. So you use the number 2 to get the wisdom, and then you found an organization, Youth Association for Teaching Economics.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a 501c3 or a formal organization you formed? Yes or no? That's
No,
not related with the school, with St. John's, right?
no, it's outside of school.
Wonderful.
You
Okay.
don't need a 5013C is a nonprofit. You don't need to create a nonprofit because there's no point. It just shows the colleges that you have money and you don't
That's
need,
right.
yeah.
You're right.
You can just start an organization with no legal like definition. So I went around Houston just running camps and classes, teaching economics and different financial literacy things, and also some lectures for other nonprofits talking about like communication, networking, and different other aspects of business and stuff like that. So a bunch of internships, Y Pulse, they're a big like marketing firm. Sprig Hub, they were like a marketing startup, and then some other things.
Go back to your St. John's students organization, President St. John's School Business Competition Club. How many people in the club? Oh, 70 plus people. Is that club was there when you joined them, or you founded the club?
I founded the club.
Congratulations. From my research, if you are the founding member of the club, that's a different from you join a club and be voted as president or vice president or treasury. Congratulations. That is one of the very successful factor that you can build an organization out of blue from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
That's very impressive ability. A lot of people don't have it. Keep on going.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but I don't think anything you do at school like matters much, but we'll talk about that later. Some different leadership roles, a couple of foundations, stuff. I was a consultant for a little bit. Golf, violin, and then I was a tutor. So I'll send the resume out if you guys need it. This is a pretty good template. Like, it's easy to read. So, no.
Okay, you send that to me already. I think I have it. If any of my students or parents or anybody here who send your email to me, and I will give the contact of Jerry to you. And one thing I observed from Jerry, he loved to serve the community, because when he successfully get into St. John's, a lot of people want to go to St. John's and cannot. Only a good score, testing score is not enough. Once he established there, he gave a presentation to my students like Carson, right? And that is serve the community and advise people like Carson and my other students how to adjust from a public school environment to a very competitive environment. If anybody wants that wonderful Jerry's presentation, I think it's 2 years ago, right? Jerry already did a wonderful job. I think if he advised anybody to apply for college, the lesson would be very valuable. Congratulations, Jerry. Keep on going. And then I will leave 20 minutes for Q&A. So now, Jerry, you have 10 minutes. So we will finish in half an hour. Go ahead.
So yeah, you have a bunch of essays to write. Most of you are way too young to be thinking about what college essays to write. For Carson, I don't recommend like thinking about this too much until you're like done with junior year, at least. I didn't start mine until junior year summer between senior year, so it doesn't matter right now. Yeah, so extracurriculars. I prefer the like term like extra scholastics, not extracurriculars, because like stuff you do in school, if you're not like amazing at it, it really doesn't matter. Like I played violin for like 12 years and I won a bunch of like awards and stuff. But to be honest, like no college cares about the fact that I played violin.
Thank you, Jerry. If I tell this same message to many of my friends, families, 12 years of violin or piano doesn't amount to anything, especially when you are not terribly love violin or piano. 12 years of hard labor doesn't much. So thank you for saying that. Okay.
Well, unless you want to apply to music school, then it would help. But I didn't apply.
That's right. Exactly. Thank you for saying that. I'm going to use your persuasive power to talk with other parents. Okay, go ahead.
So I also played like golf for like 10 years, but I actually enjoyed golf. So it was like a hobby.
That's right. If you actually love it, by all means, do it.
So stuff like that. A bunch of like people, especially at St. John's, spend so much time working in clubs.
Yeah.
And I never understood that because like I'm pretty sure colleges don't care about like what you do at school. So at least that's how I was thinking about it. Maybe it's not, because a lot of people did get into really good colleges who spent a lot of time working at clubs. But for me, I just wasn't interested. I did like found 1 or 2 clubs, but those were actually stuff that like I wanted to work on. Try to like work as much as you can outside of school. And then like passion projects, you want big numbers, right? You want big percentages, like how much did you contribute to something? How much money did you raise? One of the things I'm most proudest of actually on my resume is see if I can find it here. The Spread the Music organization, which I was a co-president, like we raised over $41,000, which if you tell anyone you raised over $40,000, they're gonna think that's a really big number. So it'll sound impressive. So you really want big numbers, right? And you have to remember that the people reading your college applications are real people. And so if you give them stuff that sounds impressive, then they'll think it's impressive. It's not like a computer system reading your thing where they don't really care. And then another thing is like, do you want to be spiked or well-rounded? It's like good at one thing or good at a lot of things. Personally, I never understood the point of a spike because I figured if you could just be really good at one thing, you could just work harder and be good at more things. But I
Okay,
don't know.
Jerry, let me interrupt you a little bit. Give you a reason. A lot of high schoolers I experience don't have enough time to sleep. They are so busy with the SAT, with the high school GPA game. They don't have the time to do 500% into 500% effort into 5 things, especially outside the school. Building your own social connection, build your own organization, reach out to society and do all these internships in California, in New York, and all around Houston. It takes a lot of time and effort. So the balance is very important. So you have to have a real passion. So maybe later on you can talk more about passion project during the Q&A with my students in Austin, like Andy and Carson. And they really need your help. Okay, keep on going.
I mean, yeah. Well, I never like studied that much. So
Okay. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm on this stuff. So I don't know, but maybe other people care more about their GPA. And then how to pick a major. I applied as an economics major because I thought if I like applied for engineering, I would get rejected from everywhere, which is kind of true because I earlied to UPenn, University of Pennsylvania, and they have a engineering plus business dual degree program.
That's right.
It's very, very
Exactly right. Very competitive. You have to have a very high level of mathematics, engineering, and humanities in terms of literature or something else, statistics too. BC calculus. Did you do BC calculus AP? Yes or no?
yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's very good choice. Financial engineering, Princeton is the top 2 hardest program in the United States, as I understand. Okay, so it's multidisciplinary, cross-disciplinary projects. Tell us, what do you think you qualify for that program? How
Well,
do you impress them?
I didn't well, I got in for economics and then
Okay.
I'm gonna transfer to this major.
Okay, you get into economics. Okay, that makes sense.
I have a couple documents like here where I made this for like how to pick a good major because some majors are like a lot easier than others. Like economics is probably one of the worst majors you can choose because of how competitive it is. But I didn't know what else to apply for. And then there's also this where it shows you like how to transfer majors and how easy it is.
That's right.
So at a college like Harvard, it's very easy to change your major because, you know, MIT, stuff like that, it's all very easy. I think this is wrong. Princeton is very easy to change majors because you have to declare like at the end of your first or second year. Before then, you can do whatever you want. Other stuff, Stanford is very easy. Other stuff like that. I'll send this document again to people who want it. Yale is very easy.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Choosing a major is actually very, very important. And different schools have different difficulty in transfer from a easy major to harder major is almost impossible. From a relatively hard major to easy major is very easy. So different schools have different requirements. Keep on going. Good job.
Yeah, some schools like have different colleges. Like UPenn, you can't get into like the nursing school and then transfer into Wharton. They're just like, it's very difficult to do that because different schools have different like admit rates. And also some schools don't allow you to double major. Like Princeton does not allow you to double major. And I also have these like lists of good programs and good colleges. There's like special stuff in here, like different special programs that are notable. Like there's the thing I applied for, Penn M&T, but there's also like Berkeley Met, and there's a UT like CS program, stuff like that. I'll also send this to people who want it. So we'll get into the Q&A.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Q&A, my students from Austin and your classmates like Carson, your old friends, has sent in many, many important questions. Okay, why don't I ask Carson or Andy to show their face if you want, but knowing that if you show your face, we're going to record it. Okay, if you don't want to record it, don't show your face. Okay, you just type in. Okay, Carson, you have no choice.
Okay, so my first question is more like St. John specific. Because since you came in ninth grade, I'm assuming you took A2PC in sophomore year. So do you think taking Calc A, B, or BC is more beneficial for junior year? Keeping in mind like my sophomore year A2PC grades were not like really, really good. So
What'd you get in A2PC?
right now I'm probably sitting at like an 86 or 87.
I took A2PC freshman year, but I also got
okay.
so it's a very hard class. And then I took BC. I always recommend taking BC because it's not that much worse than AB. And after that, you have much more options because if you take AB, then you have to take BC in senior year, which limits you a lot.
And for the college advisor or whatever, BC definitely sounds a lot better. Okay, so sounds so do your best, Carson. You can do it. Knowing you put some effort on that. Okay, but Carson, you can really benefit a lot from Jerry's advice on extracurriculum, especially forming social organization, be more assertive and aggressive in going to the society and form something out of nowhere. And Jerry can help you, I can help you too, okay? Make sense? And you are not good enough on that because you spend a lot of time on sports, on computer programming, but you do, like Jerry, have a very good heart to serve society, right? So you work in my program and help the kids to do programming, but you never did enough work to document them and form an organization. But I can write you recommendations. I can help you to form an organization, be a leader like Jerry. Make sense? You still have time. You still have time, but always assertive to people really, what I learned from Jerry, people, especially older people like us, right? We really want to help you guys. And Jerry understand these old, even Nobel Prize winner, right? If you actually sincerely reach out to them, they want to help you because they want young people to listen to them. Make sense, Carson? So you know that part of human nature, just aggressively reaching out. That's what Jerry can teach you, okay? And you can benefit a lot because you actually do listen. Go ahead, Jerry. I think today's presentation helped a lot. Carson, any other question?
Yeah, I have one other question. So, what did your summer schedules usually look like? Because I saw like a lot of internships and programs, and I was just curious, like, were those all like summer things, or did you like fit them into your school schedule?
Summers, for the first 2 summers, like I kind of like wasted them. I'm not gonna lie. I spent a lot of time like playing violin and like golf, and that didn't help me very much. But I did try to keep myself busy with different competitions. One of the things we were talking about with Halashi was the John Locke competition, which is
Wow. Yeah, talk about John Locke competition and talk about why during the COVID time, the Just Harvard class that I think is opening your eyes to you're changing from a science and a mathematics guy, like your friend Ian, right? From that highly gifted program, they push people to do math, to do science. He's not even Asian, but he's very good at the mathematics, but he never did a transition from math and science to economics, to serve society, to do leadership. He don't have much leadership program anyway, even though I gave him advice. But you, probably because of influence of Shen Zhang's, you through the program, through the Harvard program with me during the summertime, right? And the John Locke program, I think at that time when you work with me to do your John Locke essay, your understanding of a society is already first year college level, I mean Ivy League level. When you develop your brain into the Ivy League level, people recognize you. So tell Carson the John Locke essay competition and what program we developed together. Tell him.
so it's this. It's like a partnership between Princeton and Oxford. So you basically they have a bunch of different prompts about like philosophy, politics, economics, history, law, psychology, and other stuff. So I wouldn't like recommend this necessarily. Well, I mean, I know like it's good for humanities. If you want to like apply as a history major or I guess economics major, it might help. But this is a very, very, very hard competition to win.
Very hard. But I think you did very good. Through writing your essay, tell Carson what essay topic you did. It's about, I remember, is the rise and fall of the Roman Empire and also the moral, the society, how to analyze them. They make your brain be more sophisticated. Once you develop your brain to that level, people recognize it. Okay,
Yeah.
you cannot even hide it. So I highly suggest Carson will do exactly the same thing. And I'm going to use the program for my middle school students. So this John Locke Institute, their essay, every year they have an essay. Not many people take advantage of the John Locke essay. But you did it, congratulations. Where did you heard about this program so you reach out to me? Where did you heard about it? Your school or your good network?
I think my brother told me about it.
Oh, your brother, your wonderful brother. Congratulations. I really like your brother. He's from Duke. He have an undergraduate from Duke. He was in the wonderful program, graduate program from Duke. He have a wonderful personality, and he loved his younger brother. I think you benefit so much from your older brother, even though probably you don't give him enough credit. Okay, okay, but your older brother definitely gave you a lot of good advice. But to give you credit, you listen to him. Okay, that's good credit for you. So go ahead.
So like in the summer, I think just keep yourself busy as possible. there's no need to like learn classes. Like my mom wanted me to learn BC and physics during the summer. It's totally useless because they're gonna just listen in class and then study during the school year. They'll do fine. Like a lot of the stuff on my resume, I did like during the school year. Like my internships were mainly during the school year. Only one of my internships was, yeah, like this one was like March to June, and I guess this one was like May to like August, so during the summer. But just try to get good experiences in, right? Because at the end of the day, during your essays, you're just gonna write about the different experiences that you've had and what makes you an interesting person, what makes you a good person, and stories that you can tell. You want a lot of good stories and try to meet people who are really cool, right? Like meet people who do cool stuff, like people who build software, people who are into politics, who do economics things, and just like learn from them, learn from other people as much as possible. And that's to everyone, for the elementary schoolers and the middle schoolers. Just like everyone around you, try to learn as much as you can from them.
Okay, I see my students from everywhere, from China, and my students from Austin. Anybody want to ask Jerry directly? But Carson asked wonderful question because you guys are already in the same school and they're friends. Andy, any question?
Yeah, well, why'd you choose Princeton instead of like Harvard or Yale?
I didn't get into Harvard or Yale, so I didn't really have a choice
That's a
there.
very bad question. Okay, okay. But he's in the Harvard waiting list. And Yale, I have my students for the last 3 years, 5 years to apply for Yale. None of them get into Yale. I don't know why, but the Yale essay are the hardest one. It's worth a try. Once you can finish all the essays for Yale, the others are a lot of easier. Even Princeton are not, I see it's very hard, but Yale have the highest requirement. If you're not ready, don't even try it. Okay, they are too selective. They may not be as good as Princeton anyway. So, okay, that's my personal bias.
I didn't like Yale at all because first of all, the town Yale is in is very dangerous.
That's right. Pretty depressive during the winter time. I visited Yale during the Christmas season, and after the winter and yeah, it's getting more dangerous. New Haven used to be a wonderful city, but right now a lot of great cities become, not that safe anymore. So don't risk it, especially for girls. For boys too, you want a place that you actually enjoy. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't understand the Yale very much. Like if you want to go to Yale, you might as well just want to go to Harvard. They're the same school, but Yale is worse. So I don't know. But Princeton is very good for undergrad. They have no graduate schools except a PhD program, which means every single professor at Princeton has to teach undergraduate courses, which means every Nobel Prize winner there, every super successful professor there has to teach like a freshman or a sophomore class. And you don't get that in any other university. So it's really great for that. Also, they have a financial engineering program. Not a lot of schools have that.
That's right. That's not many schools have it. My students from Beijing are coming in for my class, so we exactly have 5 minutes to finish it. So, Carson, any more questions? And when we finish this program, because I record it, I'm going to send it to my students all over the world. And if anybody interested to work with Jerry, his information is here, and everybody should take a note about his email, WeChat identity, and he's offering private college counseling. Okay, so I think his social involvement, his passion to serve society, and his ability to reach out are impressive. Of course, he had the privilege and good luck to have a wonderful brother and good advice from people like me. Okay. And he took college level of classes, get his exposure, especially this wonderful program that is very valuable. So once you develop yourself and want to serve society, serve other people, I think even if you're trying to hide yourself, people will seek you out. Carson, the last question is yours. And we have 4 minutes exact.
Okay, so this is another St. John specific question, but which college counselor did you have and how much impact do you think it had on?
Wonderful question.
I had Mr. Scales, or I started with Miss Trulick, and then she left, and Mr. Miller, and then he also left. So I had Mr. Scales at the end. He didn't help at all, basically. He was all the seniors were kind of mad at him because he didn't do anything, and he was very nervous all the time, like more nervous than like any of we were. He doesn't read our essays. He doesn't really like care about like the stuff. And then he also everyone at St. John's on the college counseling team is very like pessimistic.
Wow.
They all think like you can't do anything, which I think is the wrong attitude. Because Miss Chulik, I don't know if you remember her. She was here. She told me I needed to like ED to NYU because I wasn't going to get in anywhere better. And so they really have low expectations, or they really want to like push students down, which is, in my opinion, not a good strategy. So if they like
Gary, I hear the same story, but I'm so surprised. I hear the story from a public school, the big public school. Their counselors are understaffed. They're overworked. If the students don't reach out to them as early as possible, don't have a good communication, they are just being ignored. Nobody read their essays. But I'm so surprised. St. John's as the #1, definitely the #1, the best, school, private school, very expensive school in Texas. And they are not doing, when the counselor not doing their job, that means the parents, their big brothers, and their peers have to seek out the resources. And you can help them, I can help them. You know that how to form organizations and passion projects and how to put all these projects into your essay is a big effort. I think your counselor trying to put down your expectation so you won't be disappointed. They're doing their job. It's just a job. So, okay, Coco, don't leave here. We still have 1 minute and my time, every minute count. Don't leave here. Okay, so let's conclude our meeting. This is a wonderful meeting. I'm very proud from 3rd grader or 4th grader, I forgot, you are my students, and on and off, we keep our communication, especially your willingness to contribute to the community and your ability to reach out to the society are very impressive. I will push you to the community and wish you all the best in your college life. Keep our contact. Okay, let's conclude our meeting. Thank you for everybody's participation.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Gary,
you.
thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.